Oh,
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Lighting with Success. Mike DiMuccio, your host here. It is December something. Somebody's listening to this in Spanish.
It sounds like Luis.
It's December 12th. It does sound like Luis. Let me switch this view to gallery view. There we go. Okay. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I hope most of you had a chance to be on this weekend's leadership. Great stuff, great announcements. I'm going to share some of that with you tonight. First of all, let me just get 2 minutes of what do you think?
first of all, great congratulations to Leo LeMay. He absolutely deserved the recognition, and sorrow for the loss of his sister too. I think we've all said that, and it's
Here he
true.
is.
He really is
Leo, we're talking
an
about
amazing
you.
leader. Oh, you're there, Leo.
He's
Sorry, I
there.
didn't.
He just joined. You can say that again because I don't think he caught the first part. But
Absolutely. Je vous félicite pour réussir, mais désolé pour votre sœur aussi.
yes, I want to echo that. My goodness, congratulations to the consultant of the year, Leo LeMay. I mean, we've been.
Obvious choice.
Yeah, it's kind of like obvious, right? So it's due, and I know there'll be some special recognition coming your way, Leo, starting with me when I get there in January, and I think Luis will be following up in March, right? He's going to be there, so I'm sure you have something to look forward there as well.
It's been a few years since we've had a consultant of the year, so that's a good sign that it's being reintroduced.
Yes, it is. Fantastic. You know, COVID just really messed up a lot of stuff, and but it's good because it's also given us the opportunity to revisit a lot of things, and I know Niken is doing that. They're revisiting a lot of the things that are tried and true and proven systems. So, well, you know, I'm going to share some of that with you. I just want to get a little bit of feedback from the event this weekend. Those of you who were in attendance, the leadership conference. A leadership summit, which will be an annual event.
I thought it was fantastic. I love the changes in the compensation plan. That, to me, that was the best thing ever.
Okay, are we talking about the changes in the comp plan and or the incentive program? Which part?
Oh, both,
Okay.
both, absolutely.
Great. Well, we did cover the incentive or the comp plan last week. So this week, I'm going to cover the incentives. We got Barb Richmond, who've got your hand up. Barb?
Yes, what I want to mention is the fact that Niken, I appreciate their transparency in sharing with us the reasons why the changes have to be made in the pricing of our products, sharing the whole story of the logistics and giving us charts and stats from a few years ago and how the prices have gone up during COVID, and then the supply chain issues and so forth as we're coming out, supposedly coming out of COVID, and how it's affected the bottom line. I don't know how they've managed to keep the prices down as long as they did, but it's obvious now they don't have a choice. They won't compromise on quality, so we're going to have to pay a little more for the quality of the prices that we have that nobody else has.
True.
But I really appreciated their transparency. And it just proves to us that we've got the right man as the CEO at the helm of Niken.
Agreed. Thank you. Hattie Jane.
Yay. I was fascinated and delighted with the interactive,
The
what is it
polling?
called? When we picked the number, what we wanted,
The
and
poll.
it showed us, the poll showed us the range.
Yeah, actually, I wrote that down. if you guys are interested in doing some polling on your future meetings, I wrote down the company they were using, Slido, SLIDO.com, Slido.com. It's a third-party app that you can set up for your meetings, Zoom and stuff. Cool.
That
It was
was
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, it was really cool. Yes, Lynn.
What I truly felt that the corporate was listening to the field, Mike. I really felt that they are willing to work in synergy with the field, like not before, if I may say that.
It's true. And most of you are not really aware of some of the pilot projects that are actually running. They've been running for almost 2 years now, as they recruited members of the field, members of corporate and third party to come together in projects. They're like silos where each project has different functions, and they're all bringing those functions. You haven't seen half of what I've seen. So like there's tons of stuff that's coming that you're just going to go, wow, where's this been all my life? And so it takes time, obviously, to get
It's
this
going to
all.
be mind-boggling.
It'll be fantastic. Everything that will be there, people are, craving for systems, for instance. You'll see something that'll help onboard and train somebody new, self-learning modules and so forth. Those videos are in production. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to love what's coming. Anyone else want to share your feelings about the leadership conference? Okay, well, here's what's going on tonight. I thought I would share with you the PowerPoint that was shared with us at the leadership conference with regards to the incentives program. I do have a little bit more information about it than what was shared. Some of the specifics are still not specific, but I can give you an understanding, a fundamental understanding. And the reason why I want to do that now, even though it's not being launched until January, is because we are in a pre-launch. What day is it? Today is the 12th, right? So this week, by the end of this week, I will have been celebrating my 31st anniversary with NICAN. And it was around December 15th that I first heard, thank you, that I first heard about NICAN. I believe it was actually on December 15th. But anyway, this was about the time of the year that I got that phone call that got me to get in my car, drive 10 minutes away. It was a cold December night. And I learned about a product that could help my back. Well, I learned a lot more than that night. And a result of that brief introduction and the video we watched, I got a product experience. I then took that product home with me and some literature, which included the compensation plan, and photocopied, and started doing my own homework. That night, my dad was going upstairs to bed with terrible problems with his sciatica, limping like an old man. And I decided that I was going to give the product to him to try, so that it would be my double-blind study to see how this product worked. And within 2 days of that, he had an incredible experience and wanted more products for his friends at work that wanted to try them. And the next thing I know, funny story, by the way, just a FYI. So my father's partner, most of you know, my father passed away some years ago, but his partner in business, one of his partners in business, has a factory that I frequent whenever I need something upholstered, reupholstered, or whatever in the furniture area. And I was there just a couple of weeks ago getting something reupholstered for the kitchen. Anyway, he mentioned something about some stress in his shoulders. And I was, I use the NICAN necklace as a promo, for real. I mean, I have it on auto ship. I get this every month, along with a couple of bracelets, one large, one small, and I make sure they get out there. So that's my lost leader. Anyway, so I got this necklace on him. I actually took it out of the pack and put it on him. And I did the strength test. So right there on the spot, on the factory floor, he got a feel. Anyway, I got an email this morning. Turns out that his shoulder problem started fading away within a couple of days. And he thought his wife was invited by his daughter to go shopping, and they were really worried about her shopping because her sciatica. Anyway, so he decided to give her the necklace to wear just out of the blue. And he said she came home and she said, no problems the whole day. And she was amazed, and she thought, this is really amazing. And he remembered the conversation we had where I said, the real cat's meow in Nikken is the sleep system. So he called me today to get the sleep system. So how's that? These things actually do work. Anyway, I digress. But I had a product experience. My dad had a product experience. I got involved 48 hours later after I looked over things and realized there was something magical about Nikken. So this is a time of the year for me that is special because it's the anniversary of how I first learned about Nikken, and the decision I made to get involved in Nikken was during this very busy time of the year. And most people use this time of the year as an opportunity to sit back and sort of remove themselves from life as they prep for Christmas and the holidays and whatnot. I didn't. I did the opposite. I used this opportunity as an opportunity to meet people, greet people, and introduce the idea of Nikken being launched in Canada in January of 1992. So I'm talking about, if you approach this day forward as an opportunity to introduce people with the notion, not for this month, for the notion that there's going to be a launch coming starting January. Is it the 3rd or is it the 2nd? I don't know. New Year's Eve is the 1st, so I guess
It's
it's the
the
3rd.
3rd, Mike.
Okay, so there's something coming. So start sowing seeds of something of importance happening in January 3rd. There's the launch of this Japanese giant with this new technology, this new way of compensating people, this great exciting program that they're going to announce, and just start talking that language with everybody. You're sowing the seeds of enthusiasm and excitement for a potential situation, so that when you revisit the conversation with them when it's time, then they will have already been primed, but you didn't spill the beans. You didn't give it all away. So that you're holding back with the intention of going forward. And that has an amazing effect, especially if you can do a few demos so that you create a real lasting impression on them, like I did with my friend at my dad's factory. So create those impressions now for the sake of an incredible launch experience, January, February, and March of next year. So that's really, really important. The idea of creating a launch strategy is what I've always taught. You guys who've listened to me since the beginning, I've always known Mike DiMuccio. What did he teach? He teaches one thing. He teaches a launch strategy. It's always the same thing. It's a launch strategy. Why do you suppose I teach that? Well, if you've read any of the books or watched any of the videos by either Eric Worre or Richard Brook, or heck, any of the guys who've made 6- and 7-figure incomes in network marketing, they all will tell you the same thing. It's a 90-day run. Okay, everything starts with a 90-day run, and you can start a 90-day run anytime. And most of the guys who are 6- and 7-figure earners, they've done more than one 90-day run, but they all initiated their real network marketing business with a 90-day run. It is not a gradual, day-to-day thing. That's fine, but that takes forever. And not too many people have the staying power to do that, except the Leo LeMays of this world. And that's 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000. So, unless you're going to do the every single day, very diligently, every single day approach, that's fine, especially if you've been in Nikken 20 years. But if you want to experience a 2023 that'll blow your mind, and if you want to give somebody a real opportunity coming 2023, don't give them your method of operation. Give them the method of operation that's resulted in 6- and 7-figure monthly earnings. That's what you need to do. You want to learn what do the leaders do, and be the person who teaches that person. Now, can you teach? This is a really important question I'm going to ask, so pay real close attention. Can you teach something you have not done yourself? Think about it. Well, I mean, you could teach swimming, but it's probably ideal that you know how to swim if you're going to teach swimming. Or, I don't know, think of any sport. Pretty much all the best coaches are somebody who's probably played the sport at some point in their life. Now, did they have to win a medal to be a coach? Probably not. Did they have to be the best? Probably not to be a coach. But they had to have had some experience. to have been elevated to the higher level. So think about this. Your experience has taught you a bunch of stuff, but you can impart a new experience to somebody, even though you personally haven't had it, based on your current understanding. But nothing is better than if you did it yourself. In other words, what if you launched in January 2023? What if you took the program that Niken's going to drop as if it was your program, as if it was your launch? What if the next 2 weeks of December, 3 weeks of December, you start sowing seeds for your launch with the expectation of a launch, with the understanding you're going to contribute to the Niken business and your business with a launch of your own, so you can experience what it's going to be like for the people you're introducing to this, because they're going to be introduced to it at the same time as you. Okay? So what I would want to do is I would start sowing those seeds immediately, because I would want to have some racehorses on the starting blocks with me come January. And that's what I did. What I did was I used these weeks of December to find a team of people who wanted to be part of the launch of Niken. Now, Niken had already been in business for 14 or 16 years. They'd already been in business in the US for almost 2 years. So Niken wasn't new to the world. It was just new to them. And yes, while it was new to Canada, for everybody who's never heard of Niken right now in Canada, it's new to Canada because it's new to them. So the conditions are the same. It's just the psychology of what you're conditioning yourself. So what if we launch? What if we launch with this new comp plan? What if we launch with this new incentive program? And what if we start sowing the seeds of our launch right now with great anticipation and excitement, what I'm going to share with you? Because what Niken is doing is putting in place a very specific strategy for launch. And they want you, and I want you, to participate in it so that you are first uploading the experience yourself. And in the uploading of the experience yourself, going through it yourself, you're going to be bringing in new people. Those people are then going to be given the same experience parallel with you. The same thing that happened with me and Botanis. Do you know the difference between me and Botanis in terms of our Niken success story? I'll tell you something. It's subtle, but it's huge. We are 1 day apart in joining Niken. 1 day apart. I joined the first day, he joined the second day. Now, I sponsored 26 people in January, and then I sponsored 9 more in February. I sponsored 35 people in 2 months. Bo, I think, sponsored 8 or 10, something of that sort. And that was pretty much the pace of the difference between Bo and I. That was it. But the difference in income is extraordinary. Many, many millions of dollars difference. Why? Compounding. He's been in the business the same amount of time as I have. The lion's share of my organization is his organization. But because I had built the width early on, I got such lift from that I was in the clouds way ahead of him and was able to reap the rewards for 30 years because of it, compounding. So I'm telling you, if you look at, and I do, by the way, I do study the experts. I do study people like me who are in the business, who have made over $1 million in a year in network marketing. I'm talking about 7 figures in a year, guys. And they all have Boggs. Listen to his story. He's done like 10 network marketing companies and he makes $1 million in each one every single time. What's the difference? What is this guy doing? What he does is he does a launch. He does a 90-day push. When he goes to launch something, he does it focused, head down, 90 days, because what happens in those 90 days cannot happen any other way. It's a dynamic that can't be replaced with slow and steady. Slow and steady does not create that dynamic. So I'm going to suggest we take advantage of what Niken's dropping. That's a term, by the way. You know, they dropped a new concept, they dropped a new idea. Niken's dropping a big one on us. That's going to really help us a ton. So I'm going to get into it. And I want you to look at it from the perspective of somebody who is going to run with this come January, starting now, which means you're now starting to sow the seeds like I am. I'm sharing this with you now because I'm sowing the seeds now for January. So December ought to be a pretty busy month for you if you're doing this right. You're not waiting until January. Right now, you want to be telling people, I got something big news. You know, what is everybody talking about? What's going on in your life? Oh, I got something huge coming. Really? What's that? I'm so excited. I was waiting to save it to tell you in January because that's when it's official, but I can give you a heads up right now. In fact, it's probably wise that I do. It's all in the way you position this. It's all in the way you position this. So here we go. You can all see the PowerPoint. Yes, you can. There you go. So this one was presented on, let's get back up here, this weekend. And I want to share it with you with a little bit of my insights. So it's an incentive program for 2023. Yes, we have a compensation plan change. The changes that were made was a new position that was added to the comp plan called a senior. It's 500. What this is intended to do is create a lower hanging fruit, more people reaching for the lower hanging fruit. Now, you know, we have a Yes, My Wellness pack that kicks in at what, 340 or 350? I can't remember the exact number, but now people are going to strive for 500 because that's going to set in motion, those people who join the business set in motion an advancement in rank and therefore entitlement to bonuses. Okay, so we're creating a lower hanging fruit opportunity so that more people reach for it. Okay. So why is that important? Well, if you're just reaching for that, it's not important. Who cares about senior? But if it's a stepping stone towards something because there's a program, now it matters, especially if it's properly situated like it is at 500 PGV. Okay. So this incentive program is to bootstrap the compensation plan so that now the compensation plan actually makes a lot more sense. And obviously, there's been additions to the silver rank. There's been the removal of a lot of roadblocks. Why is that important? And an increase, by the way, in income by changing the percentage of the rebate/override. Why is that important? It's not unless you have a team. It's not important unless you have a team or unless you intend to do some sales. And so these changes are all in preparation for this, what I'm going to share with you right now, this concept of enrollment and team building. So what is the PowerHouse? The PowerHouse is a concept, okay? Let me just move your picture out of the way so I can read. The PowerHouse is a concept. It's actually a marketing term. So they derived it from a marketing term. It's not like an internal thing. Oh, Nikan invented a word. No, it's a marketing concept. It's the key activities of an organization that produces the main influence. There was another book that was written about this where in a system, there are certain points in a system that if you affect those points, they multiply the effect. They're the fulcrum points, the key points in a system. So a source of influence or inspiration, a person, group, or team having great energy, strength, potential for success. So in Nikan, this concept of the PowerHouse, what makes Nikan is this combination of consultants and customers. Of course, consultants by themselves, not going to create much of anything. Customers by themselves, again, not going to create any growth. So you need both. You need both oars in the water. You need the acquisition of customers because that's where volume comes from. And you need distributors to find customers because that's where the volume comes from. So you need both. And that's the PowerHouse. It's the combination of the two. So now, Nikan PowerHouse is being defined as a task, if you will. Once someone has completed this task of finding 3 new wellness customers and 1 new wellness entrepreneur or Nikan consultant, the completion of this task in a certain time frame creates the PowerHouse. And the time frame right now is being given in a month. Now, if you recall, most of the PowerPoints that you've had from us, me, Ben, and the team, we talk about the core circle of influence. Okay, I'm going to show you that right now. Let me stop sharing for a sec. Okay, so many of you have seen this, the core circle of influence. The idea is to find this grouping of consultants and customers as quickly as possible. But this grouping represents 3 partners and 5 customers. Now, what Niken's doing is saying, well, how do we get to that? How do we achieve that? How do we incentivize that? Because that's a good idea. What can we do to incentivize that, to create that, so that a person who actually goes for that can accelerate their business? You've also seen this program that I've shared with you, and you'll note that again, there's those 3 consultants, and over here your 5 customers. So the same idea. And then if we generate that 2 generations down, you're duplicating a launch strategy. This is a 90-day launch strategy. But the idea is to find 3 core partners, and each of which are finding their customers. So how do we incentivize that? You'd think, well, the compensation plan incentivizes that. The compensation plan tells you how much you're going to get paid on the volume you're generating based on your structure and your volume. It doesn't tell you what to do. It just tells you what you're going to get paid if you have so much volume and a certain rank and structure according to that rank. And even then, it's not really much structure. So it's kind of vague. It doesn't really give you a clear picture where it says, if I do this, I make this. You get a percentage of the CV, and it's like, what's that? That's Greek to me. And if you're brand new in the business, if you're brand new sponsored, your sponsor probably can't even answer that. So it doesn't give us a clear picture of, if I do something, I get paid something, like people are used to, especially if they're coming from a job. So we need to make something more simple, cleaner, and understood, so that if they do that, they know what they're getting, but what they're doing is contributing to their movement forward in the compensation plan, so that they can earn more for what they're doing. Get it? So it's just a simple concept, but it's important, because without a business plan, your comp plan doesn't mean anything. So here is a strategy. It's one of many, but it's one that I hope we adopt hook, line, and sinker. And this becomes the norm for how we set somebody up to win in Niken. 3 customers, 1 consultant. Now, Niken's tossing around some numbers. I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you this. If you complete a Niken PowerHouse in that month, the person who did that, the new person you sponsored, gets a bonus. That's over and above what they earn in the comp plan. It's a bonus for completing this configuration. Here's something else they're tossing around. The sponsor who helped them find those 3 customers and that 1 consultant, the sponsor, who does the ABC calls and does the training and pretty much a lot of the grunt work in helping somebody get started, also gets a bonus. This is over and above the comp plan. That's what an incentive is. It's what can I do and what can I put attention to and focus on that's going to consequentially lead to an outcome that's desirable. So now what we have is a little tiny bite in the apple, a really simple way to get somebody started. Now, back in the day, we used to have a thing called Power Start. In fact, we still have that. We still have a thing called the Power Start. Still a little vague, and it pays Niken reward points. How many of you are excited about Niken reward points if you're brand new in the business? I can tell you, I haven't found that many people who are excited about Niken reward points, as much as they are about cash. People who join the business are interested in cash. And so to give them cash, that's a big win. And to help the sponsor earn some cash in the process, doubly so. So now you have an engine. This is an engine that can fire on all pistons, but there's more. You're going to get, let me just see where this slide goes next. Hang on a second. Here we go. To make this engine run, we need oil, or let's call it gas. We need fuel. What's the fuel that makes this engine run? Niken's decided that the low-hanging fruit, again, where the products are concerned, is the waterfall. I think that's an obvious one. It is a bestseller. So now they are configuring the waterfall in such a way, pricing, bonuses, etc., where Niken is taking a haircut on the profits. And Upline, the 6%, is taking a haircut on the profits of this one item in this program, not in general. So everything else stands as it is, but they're creating a special program within the Niken comp plan in order to run this particular program of the PowerHouse. And to service it, they're going to create a special tool, a tool that customers can be sent to learn about this wonderful opportunity and the waterfall, a microsite that shares what they need to know about that waterfall and the opportunity that goes with it. Imagine that. How's that for sweet? So now we have a very specific conversation that a brand new person can learn how to conduct themselves, because honestly, trying to get a new person to learn all the products is not a small task. It's something that takes time, and we don't want to take time. We want them to learn about Niken today and start talking to people this afternoon, this evening, like I did. In a matter of days, I was up and running because there wasn't that much to talk about in the way of numbers of products. It was just one simple concept. So here it is. This is the gas that fuels this particular engine. Now, here's the beautiful thing. You don't only get a cash bonus, the new person that you're launching doesn't only get a cash bonus for completing the PowerHouse. They also earn a cash bonus for each product, each waterfall sold in this program. So that's a nice, if I do this, I receive that simple scenario. Okay, and it's going to be rich, guys. It's pretty rich, and this doesn't even take into consideration rebates. And most of you on this call are entitled to rebates, aren't you? So we're talking about a cash bonus over and above what you're already entitled to. So you guys, come January, February, March, have something special coming. You're going to be really in an earning position like never before where this is concerned. And when you see the numbers like I saw, you're going to go, whoa. Okay? I'm telling you, you're going to go, whoa. This is an engine that can really push this thing fast. So cash bonus for every waterfall sold in this program, and for every waterfall, for 3 customers who purchase a waterfall, plus a consultant who purchases their pack. A minimum of 500 points needs to be generated by that consultant, and that constitutes a a PowerHouse. One PowerHouse on top generates a bonus for sponsor and the consultant. So if you've got some questions about this, we'll get back to this, okay? So here you go. Multiple bonuses for this particular activity will incentivize this activity, both on the parts of the person who's just being launched and the person who's helping them launch. So this is going to be the direction you're going to want to take somebody to get them started. Mike, what about all the other packs and so forth? I didn't say that's not on the table. I said, what can I help somebody do right here, right now, that's going to create cash flow quickly? Do you think any of those wellness home customers by any chance might want something else when we go to them again? Yes, because what Niken is also doing in the background, and they haven't told us yet, they haven't launched it yet. They mentioned it a few times in the vocabulary. You didn't hear it, but I'll tell you what they're saying. They're putting together a wellness home program. That means a way of communicating with customers about the many Niken products that we got the benefit of over years and years. They're going to show them and showcase their products over a period of time so that people learn about the products and become avid consumers, multiple purchases from a consumer. So it's not a one-time purchase. Think about that, guys. Now you have a program that's going to back this. So that's why it's okay to offer a loss leader. Do you know how shopping works? Let me just stop for a second. When you're in a store, you know, usually a like grocery store, they usually have their loss leaders right at the front, or they'll promote or advertise their loss leader. What is a loss leader? Something they're willing to lose money on, because they know if you're going to come in to buy that thing, because you can't buy it cheaper anywhere, they're losing money on this. That's probably not the only thing you're going to buy once you're there. Now that you're there, you're probably going to shop. So a loss leader is a way to get the person into the store so that they can shop. What a loss leader is for a consumer in NECANN is a way to get them into the wellness home so that they can become a wellness advocate, forevermore become a NECANN wellness consumer, provided we stay in touch with them, provided we find out what other benefits we can offer them, provided we find out how much they like what they're experiencing. In other words, a real program to support consumers. What if that was a part of the plan? Now, bringing people in, even with a loss leader, makes a lot of sense, because on the back end of that is the royalties, the 6%, the ongoing residual income that comes from an ongoing consumer. Making sense? Yeah, this has been thought through. This is not just a, oh, let's try something quick fix. This is a program. Okay, let's move on. So now, as I mentioned, PowerHouse Incentive also incentivizes the sponsor, the person who brought the person into the business. Now you have more reason to help somebody achieve this, rather than it's just about, oh, let me get them signed up, let me get their starting order, let me help them sponsor somebody, or let me help them. Now it's very specific. Now it's 3 customers, 1 consultant. Let's go. Let's get talking to people. Now, what happens if you do this more than once? In fact, how long is NECANN going to give us to do this? So here's a heads up. They're talking about a launch window, a period of time through which this is going to be functional for somebody new. And since you guys are all being grandfathered in January as though you are somebody new, you're all going to be able to participate in this program for the launch window. Okay? So everybody come January is going to be like brand new in NECANN, gets to participate in this program as though they were just signed up. Now, what I understand they're tossing around, and this is not a final thing, I'm just saying, it's going to be at least 2 months, a launch window of about 2 months, depending on when you sign in. So if you signed in halfway in the month of January, you'd get 2.5 months, because you'd get a full month of February and full month of March. I believe that's what they're looking at. So consider that. Consider the idea that this launch window, by the way, how many of you, are familiar with, the launching of a rocket or something? Like right now, Elon Musk is doing a lot of that. And they always talk about this launch window. They have this launch window. And if they miss the launch window, they have to wait till the next launch window. It has to do with the alignment of the moon or the stars or I don't know, just there's a launch window. Okay. And so same idea in NECANN. When somebody joins the business and they're excited, what do you think is their launch window?
Oh,
It's probably right now when they're excited, when they know the least and they don't know all the, all the negatives and whatever. They haven't had that experience. So you want to enroll them in this launch, and you want to be in this launch with them. That's the key. So if you sponsored 5 or 10, let's say 10 people in January, and 3 of those 10 people want to go into this launch, you're going to be a very happy camper launching 3 people. And you're going to give all 10 the opportunity. When I launched Niken with my team in January of 1992, we had the same opportunity. All of us, every one of us had the exact same opportunity to do whatever we chose to do. Some of us did more than others. And today we're very thankful for that. So if we give people an incentive, including the sponsor, an incentive to get these people on a launch pad and launch them, not just this month, but we got more than 2 months to do this. How many times can we do this? How many times can we create this scenario of a powerhouse? Because we're going to keep getting bonuses every time we hit one. And that's not to say that some of these consultants of our own aren't going to be the same. What happens if one of your consultants that you sponsor somebody in their, well, obviously they do in their powerhouse, and that person wants to do a powerhouse? Because that's the program they're being shown. Now, the sponsor that you enrolled is also going to profit and get a bonus for helping that person do a powerhouse. Do you see how this is working? And it's going to be a real number. They have a word cash asterisk. When I saw this presentation the first time, there was actually a number. Okay. But they're massaging it right now to make sure that it works right. And I'm telling you, you're going to be happy. You're going to be happy with the notion that doing the right thing has a specific payout over and above the compensation plan, because you can actually do real math with this. You're going to be able to say, me helping somebody go silver will earn me X, but them going silver will earn them Y. So you'll have a real number, okay? I like that because that's a reality, and it's all based on this program, because this program has some real numbers associated with it. So you can create as many of these as you want, many powerhouses as you want. This is huge, guys. I'm telling you, this is how we get somebody going fast and how we get them going on the right track. And when people earn cash bonuses, when there's money and it's coming fast, they tend to do more of what it is that's causing them to earn it. And when they don't understand how they're earning it, they don't do that. So having a compensation plan that pays well is great, but if you don't know how you're earning the money, you don't know what to do. But if this points you in the right direction and shows you the money that you're making and the bonuses that come later as a consequence of your rank advancement, that's going to be just on top of this. That's gravy. And then add everything else, all the products and everything else that we have in the Niken warehouse. You've got a launch pad to get somebody started. That's been missing, guys. We've tried in different ways to execute this, but there's just something that's been missing, and I think it's been answered here. So we'll get to questions in a second. I just want to point to this one and leave it at this one. 18K Club. Now, 18, we had, let me just show you what it is. Here's the 18K Club. 3 months, any 3 months. Right now, the program that's in place for Club Ki is 12,000 points in 3 months, but it's mostly retail. It's based purely on retail. So it doesn't serve the two oars in the water. That incentive does not help us create the business we want. It just helps us create income for retail. And it's not even income. You get free products. You get 500
Half
points.
retail, half.
Yeah. Well, half has to be retail, but it really is retail.
Yes.
For the most part, the people who are generating that volume are generating it through retail activities. So it doesn't point to anything that is really both oars in the water. It doesn't say specifically this activity is a duplicatable activity that helps you grow your organization and your book of business. So the program that we have right now it falls short of what it is that we're trying to redirect. We need a new direction, and the new direction has to be growth, and the growth comes from distributors, doesn't come from customers. So we need to incentivize that behavior. So what is this? 18K. There was a time when Nikan used to have a program called 60K Club. I'm sure some of you on this line, in fact, let me just stop sharing for a second. Is there anybody in here that was a member of the 60K Club? 2,
Yes.
3.
At the Paragon, not the 60.
Okay. Paragon
paragons.
was 3 silvers and 3 silvers in
Yes.
3 months. Okay, so you guys understand
Yes.
this. And so we're not talking about ridiculous. And back then, silver, remember, was 20,000 points in a month. So we're talking about a smaller version of this, much smaller version. So 3 months to generate 18,000 points. How are you going to do that? You're not going to do it alone. And you're certainly not going to do it by retail. You're going to do it by helping 3 people get involved in the launch, in their own launch. Because what if they do this 6,000 points in a month by repeating the power break, or excuse me, I call it power break, the PowerHouse 3 times. You do a PowerHouse 3 times, okay? You're going to be hitting silver or getting pretty damn close to it. You're sure going executive. You're getting up there. So if we help 3 people do the PowerHouse to get their business kick-started, let's say their first month they go executive, but now they've got a team, 1 or 2 people on their team that they're going to do a PowerHouse with. Guess what happens in the second month? You could be breaking a silver or 2. Ask Leo, that's what he's been doing. So now you've got a silver or 2, 1 more silver or 2 in the next 2 months, doing the same thing that you're already doing, helping somebody do this power break. I'm going to call it the power break. You know what I'm saying? The PowerHouse through this launch window. Now what we have is we have a focus, and a focus that now we are focusing on in terms of duplication. And then there's going to be a cash bonus. Instead of free product, you're going to get a cash bonus. And trust me when I tell you, it's a cash bonus you're going to want to get more than once. Okay. So real cash on the table to drive this engine. And then for the upline who's helping move this engine forward, duplication, this is the team building part. You're incentivized to team build. And then comes the next program, which will be dovetails right out of this, which will be the mentoring program. And so you see how one thing fits into the next, which fits into the next, which leads to the next. They're not one over here, one over there, one up there. It's one that leads to the next, that leads to the next, that needs it. So it's all dovetailed to focus us on the activity that grows our organizations and ultimately our checks and our ability to make a difference. And it all starts with that little tiny concept called PowerHouse. Okay, so it's the kernel of an idea that can replicate. It's that mustard seed that can multiply and create some really big wins and great incentives on top of that. So any questions?
Yeah, Mike, I have a question. To generate those customers for the PowerHouse, one way to do it is, through online, people get customers like that. I suppose another way would be if people start out looking for customers, but another way would be we're looking for consultants. Not everybody's going to want to be a consultant for some strange reason, and they end up being customers. But it really matters how you start talking with people in terms of what's going to happen.
Okay.
I think so. You got to strategize that.
Let me get you focused, because I need you to occupy a mindset for a moment. It's your first day in Nikan, all of you. So January 3rd is your first day in Nikan. Now, Nikan's going to be official January 3rd. You know Nikan's going to be launching. You got the heads up. Everybody's excited. You can't talk to anybody. You can't sign anybody up. You can't sell them any products, but you can talk to them. You can talk to them about what's going to happen in January 3rd. So start talking, okay? As if January 3rd is your first official day in Nikan, okay? Now, if January 3rd was your first official day in Nikan, who would you be talking to?
When do you want to respond to?
Pardon me?
The people that you want to sponsor, the people that you're working with, that you want to
Yes.
sponsor to line up your team.
Right. Would you
Yeah.
not have a list? Where would you start? You don't go fishing on Facebook one lead at a time. You start with a
No.
list. You would start with a list. Why not start with a list? Everybody knows people. You're thinking, well, I talked to all these people. You didn't talk to them about January 3rd. They don't know January 3rd is coming. They don't know what program has been laid down. You don't know what their life situation is right now. They're probably in review of it. This is the time of the year that everybody does that. So
And for the
start,
ones that did understand the comp plan, now there's a cash incentive with it.
and so the launch is, what is it about? Yes, we're going to get, let me tell you something. I love the products, but that's not why I did the business.
I want consultants. That's what I'm going to be.
I want people who want more out of life.
Yes.
I want people who are hungry. I want people who think making more money is actually a good idea and a good time for it. So I'm looking for people who are motivated to achieve more in their life. I'm not looking for people who are motivated to improve their situation marginally. No, that's going to happen anyway. Everybody you're going to talk to is a potential customer. I'm not looking for that potential customer. I'm looking for partners who become customers because they say no to the opportunity. So now that's one
Yeah.
thing. I'm brand new. How many products do I need to know to do this? Right
You
now,
understand the opportunity. You just,
right now, I just need to really understand one product. One. Because it's a program I'm launching.
Yeah.
It's the way to kickstart. When Nikon launched in Japan in 1975, they did it with one product. They became $1 billion company, guys, with a pair of magnetic insoles. Think about it. Then they became a multi-billion-dollar company when they started adding all the other items and expanding into other countries. Why don't you do the same? Why don't you just take a page out of Nikon's history and say, I'm a microcosm of the macrocosm, so why don't I just do what they did? Start with a product and go from there. Well, Nikon's saying the product we want you to start with is the waterfall, because that's the one we're going to prime the pump with.
yeah.
We're going to prime the pump with the waterfall. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's an easy one to talk about. You don't have to get into woo-wee stuff. People understand water. They want to drink water. They want to drink healthy water. So we got all the other stuff that's there. But once the pump is primed, then they'll be primed for all the other stuff. They'll be primed for the 48-year history. Right now, we need to get them in before we get them, the rest of the way. So this is a launch strategy. It's a very sharp, pointed launch strategy. All you need to know is one product pretty well. And one thing, who wants to be more, have more, make more in 2023? Figure that out and start talking to them. Tell them something's coming in 2023. Oh, is this Nikan? Yeah, well, it's not the Nikan you know. Trust me, it's not the Nikan you know. Wait till I show you the numbers. Say that. Wait till I show you the numbers. Guys, that's what people are motivated by. If they want to make money, they're motivated by the numbers. And who are the distributors? They're the ones who want to make money. And I know that most of you are just happy to, make a small difference in somebody's life and change their well-being and so forth. You've been doing that, but you're playing small because we need millions of more people feeling these products. And it's not going to be doing it one customer at a time. It's going to be building an army, and everyone is potentially a customer. Go figure. Do you know that I never had to talk about the product because everybody's a customer? Are your consultants a customer? They're your best customers. They use more products than anybody. They buy more faster than any customer. Your consultants are actually your best customers. And then come the customers who are the second tier of customers, who take a little bit more time, who take a little bit more nurturing, who really aren't interested in the motivation of the money. They're just interested in, feeling a bit better, a little bit more energy and so forth. That's our end consumer, right? Now, would you rather have 100 consultants hungry or 100 customers satisfied with their products? What would you rather have right now, going into January 2023?
100 hungry consultants for sure.
It's obvious, right? It's simply obvious. So what are we looking for? 100 hungry people who want to make 2023 the best year.
So the customers will somehow, but they'll triage themselves,
Correct.
is what you're saying.
Absolutely. The customers will identify themselves because everybody is a customer. They'll just take the layer of the business off the table, but they'll do that, not you. So find people who are hungry for more, show them a program that makes sense where they can have more, and share with them a product that they're going to fall in love with the way you did. And then it'll all make sense to them. But don't leave the parts out. You got to give them the whole story. Can you imagine if the person who introduced me to Niken, he said, "Hey, Mike, I got this." This is what he said. "I got a product that I think can help your back. Come on over." Can you imagine if he just left it at that?
Mm.
"Hey, Mike, how's your back?" "Great, perfect. This is $15, 20 bucks, whatever it was, $50. Here's your $50. Thanks very much. I'll try it on my dad." "Hey, you got some more? My dad wants some more." "Well, thanks very much. Here's a, $15, 20 bucks, whatever." Can you imagine if that was what my encounter with Niken was? Because the guy who introduced me didn't see the rest of the story, didn't share the rest of the story. That would be tragic for me.
And me.
Probably.
Yeah, for all of us, because we
So-
wouldn't have found
so,
out.
So don't sell anybody short. We got a great program to launch in January 2023. We got an opportunity for people to really make some money and have fun doing it and make a huge impact, because there's no question, these products matter. If we were just selling garbage or network marketing for the sake of network marketing, maybe you couldn't hold your head up high. You still might go out and make some money at it. I know a lot of people in network marketing selling stuff, just stuff, and they're making money. They're into the money. They're not so much into the stuff. We just happen to fall in so deeply in love with our products that we forget the money.
True that.
And that's not what motivates people to join a business. What motivates them people to join a business is opportunity, but it's got to be backed by some decent products. And we just happen to have some better than decent products. So now, can you share what I'm sharing with you? When Niken drops this January 3rd, be on that call, because you'll have the numbers. They're going to show you the numbers. And then right away, I'm going to be picking back up on this, and I'm going to show you, here's what a silver makes. Here's what somebody makes running for silver. Here's what somebody makes helping that person run for silver. Who do you got lined up? Let's go.
Well, I'm going to use this recording with new people because there's so much excitement in the recording and it's so well explained that why wouldn't I use it? It's perfect.
Fair enough. And maybe there'll be a better when we actually have the numbers, and I can share the numbers with you. But yeah, but for now, to start dropping those seeds, getting people to understand what's coming. Yeah, good idea. Ruth, you've had your hand up forever. Sorry.
Not a problem. So a few things. I love the fact that we have a stepping stone path to go. So I love that you can start with the PowerHouse, and then from PowerHouse you teach them to do it with 3 other people, and that gets you to 18K. Well, you do it with 3 different legs, so to say, get you to 18K. And then when you have the 18K, you do help 2 people go 18K, then you get to the mentoring club. And so I love that it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I wish they had more numbers for us, because I feel like they're hanging this carrot and we're like, but we need more information. Like, how much is more? So I guess what I'm asking, I don't know even if you know, but right now for me to tell somebody, yeah, you can go silver in 3 months and you'll make like $300. That is not something to like jump up and down.
It's going to be a lot more than that.
Okay, so if it's gonna be more, for example, I'm just saying my own, if I could tell somebody, do you want to make 1,000 a month and I can show you how, that would be wonderful. And if it's more than that, that's even better. But my other question coming from an accountant point of view, where is that money coming from? Partially, they're taking a hit on the waterfall. That makes sense. The other part is coming from the upline, correct? For the-
We're sharing in the cost of that bonus,
Mm.
right? So we're redirecting basically through the CV, we're redirecting some of the volume, some of the income. And by the way, that may even be a question mark, the CV,
Right.
because
You don't
that was even being talked about whether we need to go that far.
Mhm.
So that's why they're doing the math. They're
Yeah.
doing the math so that this program is going to be to front end money, put money on the front end of the compensation plan for people who are going to work, who are starting up and who need the money because that's why they're starting their Nikken business. They want that. So if we can incentivize the people who need it with the people who are making it happen at the front end, where's the upline going to make the most of their money? Over time, the 6%, right? If you're only worried about making your money on the front end and you're not worried about the back end, you're missing the real money.
Right.
The real money, do you remember the curves that I drew, the 3 curves? The real money is on the back end.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on the duplication and on the long-term residual income that comes from consumption of products as you build your consumer base. That's the back end. If we don't know that, then we have to revisit that presentation. So if we can incentivize the front end, there'll be a back end because you got to get people in the front door before there is anybody in the house. But once they're in the house, we want to keep them in the house. And that's where the wellness home program comes in. So we get them in the house at the front end, they get involved, they stay involved, they bring other people. And now what we have is a real runway to create that duplication. Duplication is the key to the back end. Duplication is the key to the back end. And I'm talking about leveraged income. I'm not talking about, I've got 50 customers who buy from me, once or twice a year or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about 50,000 customers in your network that buy once or twice a year. Where did that come from? That came from duplication. Duplication can only happen when you have a program that causes people to behave in a certain way because they're incentivized and they make money doing it. If they don't make money doing it, they won't do it very long.
That's
But if they
right.
make good
So
money
I think
doing
that,
it,
yeah, I think this is a long time coming. We've done it the old way, not the old way, the retail way for the past 5 or 6 years, and it hasn't gotten us to where we need to be. So I'm really grateful that Nikken is looking and to build and incentivize the correct team building aspect of it. So I just wish we knew the numbers.
they're coming. And I'm telling you, based on what you said, you're going to be very, very happy. Barb Satterway.
Yes, I just want to, what I hear too with the PowerHouse, if I sign up a new wellness consultant, okay, help them get their 3, but at the same time, I get 3 customers, then
No. Yes. So come January, yes.
Okay. What I'm asking is, so
No. They have to be your customers. So PowerHouse is this way: 3 customers, 1 consultant. So
right.
If you sign up a customer or a consultant and go find 3 customers, you will have created a PowerHouse. So in January, all of us are new consultants mentally, emotionally, and in this particular program. Nikken's letting us play in this game.
No, what I'm saying is I understand that, but in addition, while I'm getting my 3 customers, I can teach that new wellness consultant to do their new wellness consultant and 3 customers. So you can do these together.
Oh, yes.
And
and you will find yourself in 1-2 months doing that because that's what it's going to create a cascading effect. And that's when these calls will become interesting because now you've got all these new people who are learning the business and they're going to want to hear from people who know, we might have a conversation about, well, we already have it now, the sleep program or sleep system and so forth. They can start plugging into the other calls and learning about the other products. And guess what? That waterfall will turn into a sleep system and that waterfall will turn into other things. Bob Richmond.
Thanks, Mike. Just to clear up a bit of confusion. Excuse me. There was one statement that was made between Alejandro and Luis. The Power Start is discontinued. You
Yes.
mentioned it was still going.
Come January.
Yeah. and Club Ki as well.
Correct.
And that it's basically Team Tai Chi and Team Kaizen are becoming part and parcel of the mentor
Correct.
program.
Correct.
They are taking, yeah.
That's
And
right.
the travel club
Cash and
is-
trips will be that. Yeah.
Yeah,
The mentoring program is really cool because it's actually you register. It's an official mentoring challenge, and you're not limited to who you mentor. It can be cross-line too.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so
It's
you get
exciting.
rewarded. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a great idea. Madeline,
did you want to mention the grandfather for people that have people started right now going for silver?
I don't know the specifics. They didn't tell us what they were, but I do know.
They just said
They did.
if they were doing it if they were in the 3 month going silver, November, December would be grandfathered into
Okay.
January, and December, January would be grandfathered to February, and then it's cut off.
So as
But
of
those that are
November,
in the process now
got it.
will be grandfathered in so they can complete it.
Good. So let me repeat. If you sponsored somebody or if somebody has volume in November, then their December and January volumes contribute to their advancement in rank to silver. That's being
Correct.
grandfathered. If they have volume in December, then their volumes in December, January, February are going to be grandfathered into the new year.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, good. That's good to know. But starting January, silver in 1 month. Now, as I said last week, that's got to be the new norm, guys, because quite frankly, the 3 month process was killing us. People tend to take more time than they need, and that kills momentum. Momentum is the key, creating focus, excitement, and duplication. And duplication is the key to a big and growing business. So anything that kills momentum is not a good idea. And we learned that the hard way. So we're going back to what we know works. Madeline, did you? Madeline.
Yeah, so since we're talking about it and the cat's out of the bag, I mentioned before the 21 Club. We had the Water 21 Club, the Rollout 21 Club, and in the days when all the incentives for the 21 clubs, you did 21 ABC presentations in 7 days, 3 working days to get all the orders in. I still have in my files those old forms, so we can start our own as incentives. And the other thing I would suggest, Mike, you showed some of these slides tonight. Dennis Williams was always pretty good at making some slides of whatever new came out. So they showed on day 1 the information on water and sleep. So pull out those water statistics, the numbers of gallons of oil and the numbers of bottles that are ordered and the numbers of bottles in the water with the fish. So just a few of those that we could be distributing as water information, having water parties. So we have from now until the 31st to have 21 clubs and line up those interested in becoming the launch for January.
Part of the launch team.
Part of the launch
Exactly.
team. Come up
Exactly.
with our own incentives within our teams to launch for those that are really serious to join what's going to be announced in the pre-launch. So I can probably several of us still have it in all your old files, but I'll find a 21 Club in here and you can modify it and make up your own if you want to, but I can attach it and send it to you if you want to put it out on the WhatsApp.
Okay, perfect. And by the way, if you have a rhythm to this strategy going further, thinking about it, after somebody's been in the business, say a month, then maybe they should learn about the sleep system in the next month.
Yes.
Even though they're doing their program, they are uploading new information. So now what we have is we have a process whereby they are learning about products because they're interested in Nikken. They're part of the Nikken experience. They're in their launch. How is it for you? Do you remember? How did you upload products and information? You're more likely to want to do that as you're new and excited. So if we actually have a strategy for downloading that information and it's not random, then we have a program where we get people on board and then we onboard them into the wellness home experience, which is an ongoing thing. Wellness home specialist, I guess that's Mrs. Kramer.
It is. Thank you. I realize that not so many people are Sabbath observers, as I am. I signed up for the weekend last week in hopes that there would be at least be a replay, and there wasn't. And this thing on the 3rd, I would love to sign up, but I if there's not a replay, why bother to sign up?
Well, you don't have to sign up to be part of the thing on the 3rd. You're in NECAN, you're already signed up. So you are going to be automatically enabled.
I understand that, but
It's a Tuesday. The 3rd is a Tuesday,
That's correct.
if that helps.
oh, right. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. I'm
It's
still
okay.
unhappy from my move. Okay, great. Wonderful.
Well, understandable. December 3rd was a Saturday, so yeah.
Right.
Does that answer your
Okay.
question?
You did. Thank
And
you.
it was recorded.
Right on. Paul?
Where money can come from, I think NECAN has extra money that the NRPs that you'd get for 4 club TIs, 2,000. That's not going to be there, but there's just money around. It doesn't have to come. I don't think we have to worry that it's going to cut from.
No.
No.
Trust me, they're just redirecting how they are doing it. Because if it's not providing the ultimate experience, the ultimate test of whether or not what you're doing is working is growth. Are we growing? Because if all we're doing is maintaining, there's no such thing. There's a, you throw a pen in the air, it doesn't maintain. It's either going up or it's coming down. So that's Bob Proctor used to always say, you're either going up, you're coming down. So there can't, if there's not the sufficient growth, if the numbers aren't there that they want, then they have to tweak the formula. It's like a car, it'll only go so fast. If you want it to go faster, you got to put a better engine in it or make it more streamlined. That's what NECAN's doing. They're dropping a new engine in the car. And this engine's got more horsepower, and that's why it's going to go faster.
And another thing I thought I heard was that if you have a consultant and that consultant does a PowerHouse, the consultant gets extra cash, but so does the sponsor of that consultant.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Oh, wow.
That's called greasing the wheels, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's also encouraging the ABC, which we
Yes.
haven't done enough of. It's the ABC.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Nancy.
Yeah.
This is more the nuts and bolts of it. You said, and maybe we would be grandfathered in to do this because we'd have the experience, et cetera, for 2 months. And you don't know that time for sure. But you said you need to just get out there and do it multiple times. And I'm thinking in 2 months, I mean, to move a person to silver, I must be thinking small or not understanding. So you're saying, okay, we can get in, we can find a consultant, we get customers under them, do that again. I'm just thinking, holy smokes, there's only so many hours in the day. And so I'm confused.
You're just saying you don't know how to do a silver in a month.
No, I mean,
Okay.
okay,
Well,
but
I'm going to be teaching more of this because you're talking to a guy who's helped 3 people go platinum in a month from 0. You're talking to a guy who helped people go silver in days, not weeks, not months. And the strategy is always the same, and it's always with new people. So new people know how to do this if you give them the guidance and the direction, if they're excited enough. But where there's lack of focus, lack of excitement, lack of commitment, lack of energy, direction, all those things, and worse off, if you think you got 3 months, you take 3 months.
yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Oh.
thinking of duplicating 3 people. And so I see what you're saying. I mean, many times I never made it to silver. I got to 18,000 3 different times in 1 month.
How many okay, think about that. How you did 18,000 in a month. We need to do it in 3 months to get this new reward. So you already know it's doable. You've done it. And so now it's the same thing. It's finding people who are hungry. We don't do this. The whole exercise here is to grow. Growth comes from new people. And in order for new people to show up, there has to be money on the table. And in order for you to go find those people, there has to be money on the table. So Nikan's saying, well, let's put some money on the table.
Okay, all right. Okay, and the other thing is, what is, any of you can answer. Mike, I'd like to hear your opinion. I have a team member who has a prospect, a longtime friend who says, I know that's a biggie, she will sign up, and she was supposed to do that sometime this month. She still hasn't. Now, she would be third under me. So she could join, and she already has 2 friends who say they want the waterfall. And I'm thinking, okay, well, then that would grandfather her into the old thing, like Madeline was pointing out, through January and February. But that just doesn't seem quite like it would be the most beneficial.
No,
It
it wouldn't.
seems
So what I would be doing with that person right now is telling them what I'm telling you and say, come January 3rd, we go like a banshee. So we got between now and then to line up as many of the people that you want to be part of this. Let's get going. So then come January, she won't need February.
Right, no.
Her silver ship will be in the bag. So it's when you start thinking 2 and 3 generations forward, then I'll give you an example. When silver was 20,000 points, we used to think, okay, 4 people at 5,000 and you got your 20,000, right? So here's what would happen. You would draw, you come in at 5 and find 3 other people who come in at 5. Okay, that's the thinking. And then what would happen? Well, that third person, no, that would happen. But that third person, let's say they came in week 3. How's that person going silver? If their volume, because the model you just said is your volume plus 3. Well, if that person in week 3 or week 4 of the month comes in with their 5,000, how do they go silver if their volume doesn't count in the following month?
Yeah.
They can't. So what would they do? They would hold back their volume to start the month because that's what you taught them. And now you lost your third person and you're not silver. It collapses the whole thing. So you don't teach that. You take your volume out of the equation. It's you do whenever you do what you do when you do it. It's 4 people at 5,000, and that's the target. And now your volume doesn't matter whether it's the first day, the middle, the end of the month is irrelevant. So now we just get them started the way you want others to get started. So if you want others to do 5, you do 5. You want them to do 15, you do 1,500. If you want them to do 5, you do 500. So that's duplication. But your volume was never the issue. You take the volume out of it. So the strategy is always their volume doesn't matter. It's not the volume that's going to decide whether they go silver or not.
That is such an important point, Michael.
Okay, thank you.
So the consultant's volume should never matter. We should always, whatever tape we're shooting for, whatever goal we're shooting for, that is our goal plus whatever we do.
Exactly. Yeah. What we do. Sue.
I just want clarification in regard to when we sign someone up. We get them in line, but we don't actually put the date until January 3rd so they qualify for the PowerHouse?
No. Everybody is going to be grandfathered come January 3rd. So you got somebody to get started, get them started.
Okay, that's all my only question.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's not what I heard.
Ruth?
I just want to clarify the mentor and mentor elite. You had said you can do crossline. Is that what you meant? I just want. So how do they track all that? Because you're
That's where the
registering.
contract comes in. That's where there's an actual contract and a way of actually registering.
Oh, so we can get credit for mentoring somebody and they can get their 3 customers and their consultant and it would count as a PowerHouse even though they're not in our downline.
It's mentoring. So that's right.
It's the
Yeah. So the mentoring program, I think, is with respect to 18K Club. So you can help somebody do 18K That's and you get credit for that.
Oh,
And
I
then
wasn't clear on
there's
that.
rewards and benefits for the mentoring club. So again, think of the trips, think of the leadership conference, think of all these nice things that NECAN does. Madeline, last question, we have to wrap up.
Not a question, just this is an incentive to make the bonuses. So you're talking, if you start contacting and you're sponsoring more people, this is the minimum. 3 customers with waterfalls. Who's going to buy just a waterfall? You know, people, if we're sponsoring them about this huge wellness home beginning and a start, this is the way to start. But out of the people that we're talking to as we practice those scripts, some are going to come in with their sleep system in the other packs. So for new people that do this, 4 times 1,500 is 6,000. So it's possible to sponsor 4 people in a month and have a new silver, and that have one of them sponsor somebody else, or they're 3. So whether they win the power themselves or not, we can still have new silvers, and silvers that are motivated to be building big businesses. So that it's a sorting. It's those that want this bonus to have some money to begin with. But it doesn't mean that's the only thing you have to do when you're talking to people. You want to sponsor everybody, but this is a way to lead with just one product to keep that simple duplication. You're teaching it just what Leo did with his little simple duplication. It's a duplication with one product, but it isn't going to preclude that once we start that and we gain confidence in doing it again, just getting out and talking to that many people again, your volumes are going to kick up.
Yes, exactly. Okay, guys, lots of good stuff, more coming. So I will post this after dinner. So look for it later. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a
Mike.
good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Good stuff. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, my